Welcome, and thanks for joining us today for this deep dive into what's new in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. We're excited to show you all the new features and capabilities that we've been working so hard on in the new release. But first, I'd like to start today by talking a little bit about the imperative of digital transformation for competitive businesses. At Microsoft, we work every day partnering with customers on successful transformation journeys, and we've engineered solutions that help businesses engage their customers, empower employees, optimize operations, and really fundamentally transform their products and services. Research shows us that the top 25% of digital leaders have a significant advantage over the bottom 25% of digital laggards, even with IT spend essentially the same. Digital leaders post higher gross margins, revenues, and profits than digital laggards. Digital leaders operate better with customers, with more personalized experiences. They understand better the impact of investments with quantitative evaluations and KPIs, and they develop better products and services. So what are some of the trends happening where digital transformation is taking place? To start with, digital leaders increasingly have dedicated teams thinking strategically about how to leverage data, technologies, and processes to innovate and outperform. Soon, IoT is going to save consumers and businesses over $1 trillion a year in maintenance, services, and consumables. And digital leaders are investing in the connected factory to reach new levels of productivity and efficiency. Most significantly, technologies like IoT, AI, and advanced analytics are enabling companies to innovate new business models with digitally enhanced products and services. Data, capturing it, analyzing it, learning from it, is the key to competitive advantage and differentiation. Dynamics 365 for finance and operations enables this kind of digital innovation, providing a unified, real-time view of global financials and operations, empowering people to make informed decisions faster, letting businesses adapt quickly to changing market demands, and driving business growth. We help business leaders address their challenges and achieve their goals. Now, some of these challenges have been around for decades. CFOs are looking to increase margins, increase revenue and profitability. COOs looking to drive out costs and improve efficiencies, and CIOs managing the return on their IT investment. But some of these challenges are new, having been introduced by the digital transformation taking place in industries across the globe. CFOs need to analyze data and use predictive analytics to identify opportunities for new products and services and to innovate new business models and ways to compete. COOs have to deal with unprecedented volumes of data, billions, trillions of data points being gathered across their operations, coming from digital products, coming from the connected shop floor, coming from customers, and look for ways to take that information and streamline and optimize the global supply chain. And CIOs, more than ever before, are strategic partners driving this growth and transformation in companies. They have to be nimble, supplying data, technologies, analytics that are going to enable continuous innovation and change to manage this imperative across the connected enterprise. Next, we'll hear from Mohammed Alam, General Manager of Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations, taking us through the detailed capabilities of the product and the exciting new features that have been introduced in the latest release.
Thank you, Bill. Before we get into the details of what's coming in the Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations spring release, I do want to take a few minutes and talk about kind of what our long-term overarching vision and strategy is for finance and operations. As Bill talked about, from a digital transformation perspective, what we believe at Microsoft is there's core sets of signals coming from the product side, from the customer side, and people side that are really what's enabling and being the catalyst for digital transformation across industries and certainly for specific companies as well. And at Microsoft, we obviously enable all those three loops of digital transformation through a set of applications that we have on the product side, on the customer side through customer engagement applications, marketing, sales, and service, and on the people side with our Dynamics 365 for Talent application. What we're going to focus on today in this discussion is how we're enabling the digital product feedback loop via our finance and operations set of applications. On the digital product feedback loop, if you just look at the processes that impact the product feedback loop, these are processes that largely haven't changed over the course of the last 2 decades. So these are things like product design, planning, how do you manufacture the product, how do you get the product to the right place, and then kind of how do you enable that with a set of finance capabilities in your application as well as commerce capabilities. The transactional capabilities that essentially enable these business processes largely haven't changed over the last 2 decades as well. Sure, they've gotten a lot more automated, they've gotten a lot more usable, and they're a lot more connected across the spectrum of the supply chain. And we have that too in the Dynamics 365 for finance and application, and we'll continue to invest and innovate on those. But more of what we hear from our customers is when they're looking for new applications or transformation on the product side of their organization, while they're obviously interested in making sure that the transactional capabilities are there, that's not increasingly what they're worried about. What they're worried about is in the application and the partner that they select, is that partner helping them really take advantage of the trends that are really impacting the product, really the whole set of feedback loops, but particularly on the digital product feedback loop. And those 2 trends that we continue to hear a lot from our customers are the trends of product as a service and disintermediation. Product as a service essentially is a new phenomenon that with the ability to get real-time live signals coming from the product back to the organization, it allows you to kind of have both eyes and insights on both the usage of the product and the health of the product. Both of those in turn then allows you to think about different business models that you can really go to market with. Such as not just being in the business of selling a hard good or a hard product as a one-time sale to your customers, but offering that more as a service and have that lifetime relationship with the customer, not just for that version of the product, but then obviously continue to innovate, expand, and kind of grow the presence and that relationship and partnership with the customer, aka product as a service, right? And then disintermediation is sort of another loop that kind of feeds into the same thing, which is even if you're not in the business of directly selling or touching the customer, either from a sales or a service perspective, disintermediation through this digital product feedback loop and signals allows you to get actual data, both from a product perspective, its usage perspective, and customer satisfaction perspective that allows you to really fundamentally improve both how you build the product, how do you service the product, and essentially kind of then opens up a set of additional business model or revenue lines capabilities as well that customers are actively thinking about. So from a finance and operations perspective, what we're rallying around is how do we enable these 2 trends holistically in the application atop what we have from a transactional capability perspective. And that's kind of what our long-term vision is. And for us, when we think about what does it take to enable product as a service and this disintermediation trend, it's a set of capabilities that build on top, like I said, for these transactional capabilities enabled by signals, the digital signals coming both from the product and the ecosystem. Let's take an example of a couple of those signals and how you actually run those processes, right? So if you look at signals coming from the live product, those signals are so valuable that it enables a bunch of different things. But if you look at just 3 examples of that, you can leverage those signals to really understand from a product quality perspective that both your processes, the raw materials, the transportation and the logistics around it is really holding up to the expectations of the quality that a customer expects. And you can get that from the signals that are coming from the live product, and then obviously make any changes that you need to in a much more agile fashion than historically what organizations have been able to. Another signal or another use case that you can enable with the signals coming from the product is predictive maintenance that we enable through our connected field service solution, which is if you're getting the signal that the product is really not performing up to the expectations of you as an organization and certainly the customer, then you can do some predictive maintenance around it before either the product breaks down or the customer becomes unhappy, again, to protect that lifetime relationship with that customer. And then finally, another scenario that you can really enable from a business model and a revenue line perspective is if you're getting those signals from the product, now you can go back to the customer and say, hey, in this product and as a product as a service world, we'll bill you on how much you're consuming the product as opposed to that upfront. So you can actually kind of have more consumption-based billing. And for product as a service to enable, obviously on the finance side, it requires changes such as either minimally subscription billing, but ideally, depending on kind of what the product and the service is, consumption billing, which is what that signal would allow you and enable you to do. If you look at capabilities such as connected products that Bill talked about earlier as well, all of those signals coming from the equipment and the machinery that's on your factory floor allows you to make sure if there's a particular part or an equipment that's about to go down, that you can take the predictive maintenance to protect the commitment that you have for your end customer as to when you light up that service or when that product gets delivered to them for them to be able to kind of get value out of it. So when we think about product as a service for us is not just a set of capabilities, but it's how these capabilities light up holistically in the application across Dynamics 365 set of applications that allows you to really enter into new business models. And that's what we, from a finance and operations perspective, long-term are focused on, is in partnering with our customers and allowing them to really move into these new business models and take full advantage of the trends that is disrupting not just companies, but large industries at a scale and at a pace that we've not seen before. So let's step back and go a step deeper as to what's specifically coming in the spring release. We see our spring release focused largely around 6 key core themes, and those core themes are business productivity and analytics, extensibility and customization, improvements that we're making in the supply chain application, cross-application integration, supportability, and compliance and trust. And why these themes are important is our investments in productivity are aligned with how you as a customer can continue to get more value out of scarce investments and resources that you have in your organization via things like smart and intelligent recommendations that come in from your usage of the application to both better the process, as well as really kind of centered around how you can really get higher business outcome or business value from those processes as well through the capability that we're calling Optimization Advisor, and capabilities such as alerts and notifications where you can really set up the application to manage your processes by exception and not have to touch all aspects of the process if everything is going well. If you move over to the extensibility side, there's a huge value prop here that we're enabling in the spring release in that we're essentially locking down the application from a overlayering perspective such that you can still extend the application and make it fit to your specific needs, but do it in a fashion that really protects the updatability of the application on an ongoing basis, allowing you to stay current with whatever investments we're making both in the platform and the application side. So while we will still enable developer experiences for you to extend the application through our extensibility framework, which now separates those extensions through what we provide from Microsoft as the application code, hence allowing you to kind of stay updated and current on a continuous basis with us without having to do a whole lot of merging and upgrading in what used to be the historical sense. But we're also enabling low-code and no-code extensibility through embedding what we have in Power Apps, which you can kind of build purpose-built applications and really embed them alongside your finance and operations user experience. So the user doesn't really see the seams, but they can get a much more fit-for-purpose experience within the native application. I won't go into that much detail for the rest of them, but I do want to touch on the integration aspects and the supportability. On the integration aspects, really what we enable with Dynamics 365 is a choice for you as a customer as to you can start your journey with these applications at a pace and from a point where it makes sense to you. But if you have these applications together, they will work nicely and adopt the same data that accrues from each of the application. And that's really what we're enabling with these cross-app integration scenarios with finance and operations and field service, with finance and operations and project service, with finance and operations and talent. And we're enabling that in a way where we know what we enable as a cross-app integration is not necessarily always going to be complete. So we're enabling that in a way that as a customer, you have essentially a low-code, no-code configurable experience to be able to kind of really adjust and tweak those integrations to the way that makes sense and best fits within your organization. And we'll take a deeper look as to how that integration works a little bit later in the demo. And then supportability is the last part that I'll touch on, which is now that you're trusting us to really run your mission-critical applications in the cloud, what are we doing both to enable you to get a high level of responsiveness from us in case there's an issue, but really more of what we're doing to make sure we can proactively keep you healthy, both from a issues and support perspective, as well as monitoring and alert perspective. And we'll take a quick look as to what are those investments that we're making in the product. So I'll kind of stop there and then hand it over to Arijit Basu, who's our principal product architect on the finance and operations side, and he'll walk you through in depth and show a demo of some of these core capabilities that we're landing in the spring release.
Thank you, Muhammad. Now what I'm going to cover is take you through each of these individual themes. The first one is business productivity and analytics. Our customers are looking for very easy and configurable ways of managing their businesses by exceptions, as well as have the applications make smart recommendations on how to either optimize the configuration or even the business process itself. In this release, what we have done is we've addressed both of these scenarios by allowing users to set up event-based exceptions on dates and notifications which allow them to focus better on their business rather than focus on the underlying platform. We also have provided some of the capabilities via Optimization Advisor, which is essentially an intelligent in-app assistant that is based on usage and telemetry and makes real-time optimization recommendations and gets smarter over time as the customers go and use their environments. Let me go and do a demo in each of these individual areas. The first demo I'm going to actually do for you is basically the automated business notifications. This automated business notifications allow users to go and configure alerts and notifications in the system based on changes, based on status change of certain fields, or even due date alerts. This helps the user stay on top of this vast ocean of data that's been thrown at them every day and be on top of these things. Let us take a scenario where we have different people working on the purchase order document and they need to get alerted based on state changes or due dates. The first scenario is that of a purchase manager, and the purchase manager needs to get notified whenever a new purchase order record is created. So we select the purchase order, click on the new alert rule, and then the purchase manager can select a record has been created or deleted. The purchase manager can select whether this is a personal alert or this is enabled organization-wide, or is it up for specific records in a purchase order or all orders. The purchase manager can select a specific date till which the system will keep on alerting, as well as alert options like will it be a notification or a pop-up or an email message. Once the purchase manager has configured this, they can set on OK, and the system will monitor and alert the purchase manager whenever required. Let us take a different persona. We have the purchase warehouse receiving agent, and they want to get notified whenever they're expecting purchase order deliveries. So in this scenario, the agent can go select a specific purchase order and click on alert. Now what they want to do is, instead in the selection of the field, they can select on delivery date. And the scenario is they want to get notified 1 day in advance when a purchase delivery is due. So they select the delivery date and they can select when it is due in a specific day. They have an option of different one calendar day to months and weeks. So they will go ahead and select 1 calendar day. They can define whether it's for specific records or all records, an end date for the alert, as well as the alert options as notifications or pop-up. And when this due date alert is set, they can go ahead and click on OK, and the system will start monitoring the data. This demo will walk you through what the Optimization Advisor does in the application. The Optimization Advisor basically is an inbuilt in-app experience which basically lets or provides the user recommendations on right and optimized business settings. What often happens and what we've heard from our customers is that during the implementation time, people set up the system and later they forget about it. But in reality, what happens is as the data increases, as business process changes, the configurations and setups really need to change to adapt to the new scenarios. Optimization Advisor leverages a lot of machine learning and other advanced technologies which monitor the system, the usage, the business process done by our customers, and then advise the customer on what are the right settings at a specific point of time, which will generate the maximum output. I want to take another deep dive into the Optimization Advisor. Optimization Advisor prevents incorrect setup and data from affecting system performance. How this does is basically monitors your system, and as your data and business process changes over time, it goes ahead and does recommendation. We all know that system performance and availability is basically negatively affected by setup, and data incorrectness and wrong configuration. At a specific point of time, the configurations may be correct today, but as your business scenarios change, the configurations need to change too, and that's something which people often forget, leading to a not so good experience by the system. What we have enabled using the optimization advisor is the system or the application intelligently monitors the platform, the usage data, and then based on time to time and changes in business scenarios, recommend optimal settings for different business processes to the end user. What we've also enabled is an extensible platform which will let our power users and the engineering teams to go ahead and configure or customize, add new rules which are very specific to that specific business organization. Let me walk you through the optimization advisor in this release. You can access the optimization advisor as a workspace item on the homepage. When a user clicks on the optimization advisor, they are taken to this workspace where they can go ahead and see the recommendations which the optimization advisor is giving to the user. And for each recommendation, we can have more information as well as take actions from the recommendation. So let us take one recommendation. The system is recommending to the user to go ahead and look at the warehouse location directive for fixed location. To view more information, I can click on this icon, and the system tells me there are location directives which are inefficiently configured, and it tells me those specific details. Now to take actions based on the recommendation, I can click on take action, and I will be taken to the configuration page where as a power user, I can go ahead and make those changes recommended by the system. Let's take another rule. Let's say scheduling resources more accurately by looking at route optimization runtime. To view this recommendation, I click on more details, and the system provides me with a graphical interface on optimizing route operation runtimes. And similarly, like above, I can go ahead, click on take actions to go ahead and make the recommended changes in the system. And in this case, this was automatically done by the system. The next theme I'm going to deep dive on is extensibility and customizations. We've heard our customers, and we understand they are asking an ability to make the application fit to the unique needs, as well as the combined ability of not having to worry about doing expensive and laborious upgrades to stay current in order to benefit from all the innovation that we are releasing onto the application, basically reducing the TCO. What we've done in this release is basically move away from the overlaying to the use of extensions so that we can service the application without disrupting customers and minimizing the cost of moving to subsequent releases, and still preserving the customer's ability to extend the application for maximum fit to their business. And we've also added features to go ahead and allow customers to add business changes and modifications in a low-code or no-code fashion, as well as via the extensive developer experiences. In this demo, I will walk you through the embedded Power Apps features in this release. What this does is empower our customers to use literally no code to embed apps inside Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, so they can actually work seamlessly between application boundaries while still remaining within the application system. Let us take a simple scenario. You have a warehouse and orders are being shipped from the warehouse to end customers. Before the users actually send out the orders, they need to put a tracking number into the order package and then send it via the courier. And to get this tracking number, they have an app which they built on Power Apps which interfaces with external system. The Power App in question is out here. It's a very simple app which accepts the from and to location, gets the weight which can automatically come from the weighing scale, and then generates a tracking ID which can be put into the packing slip of the order. So let us show you how to do it. Going back into Microsoft Dynamics 365, I click on the sales order because I want to embed this app on the sales order details. I select any sales order and go to the details view, and here I want to embed the app. So I click on the options and I say personalize this form, which brings up the personalization wizard, and I go ahead and click on insert, and instead of field I click on Power App. And now the system asks me which part of the form do you want to go ahead and embed the Power Apps. I click on the top because I want it to be on the top bar. Then I have to put in the name of the Power App. I call it Microsoft Shipper, and I have to have the app ID. The app ID is the ID which is generated by Power Apps to identify the specific application. In my case, this is the app ID. Then I have to select what is the input data source for the Power App. Now this input data source for the Power App basically is the data which you want from Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and operations to be sent over to Power Apps so they can accept it, process it, and send details back. So I will go ahead and select an address data. And here I have the postal address, which is basically the delivery address of the order. I define the application side as y.thin. I'll select thin. And then I define whether this is applicable for all legal entities or specific legal entities. I'll just select all legal entities and click on insert and click on the close button. After the insert, we have to go ahead and refresh the form. Once the form has been refreshed, I click on the specific sales order, go into the details, and in the pick and pack where I want to send the warehouse details, I click on the Power App icon on top and I can see the Microsoft Shipper app. When I click on this, the app opens in-app and I can see that 123 White Road, Los Angeles, California has been transferred from Dynamics 365 to Power Apps. As an end user, I go and put in the weight of the package as 5, click on generate shipping label where I can get the shipping label generated. I can copy it and then close the app, and then I can proceed with the pick, pack, ship and sending it out. This demo, I will take a deep dive into the feature on user-defined fields. This has been a very important ask for all our customers to ensure that they can add or modify their business data without writing code or without requiring a developer help. This user-defined field features now lets power users who have the right access to the system add data into the databases without writing any code and have it show up on the user interface real time. So let me go ahead and take an example where as an user I want to add the industry field on my supplier's data. So I select a specific supplier, I click on personalize this form and insert a field. Once I select that, it will give me the option of where I want to place the field. So I select the top tab and then the system will basically show me all the existing fields that I have in the system, but it will also give me the option of creating a new field. I click create a new field and then it asks me to select the table, and I'll go ahead and select the vendor. It will ask me for a name. I will select a specific name prefix, a label, and then it will ask me for a data type. And for this specific demo, I will select a pick list. And once I select the pick list, it will ask me to go ahead and define the values for the pick list. So I'll enter some values. And once I'm done, I'll click on save, click yes on the confirmation modal window, and now the system is going ahead and making the changes to my field. I click on insert, and real time I can go ahead and see this industry data. I can refresh the form so that I can go ahead and see the effect. Once the data has been created, the field automatically shows up on the form, and I can see it on this Acme Office suppliers, where I can go ahead, select the industry, and it will show me the values which were just created. I can go ahead, select any value, and click on save. As mentioned earlier, this release we have made significant investments on the platform by sealing it, thereby enabling our customers to be on the latest and the greatest with minimal impact and downtime. We've added the extensibility request features in Lifecycle Services, which lets developer send requests to Microsoft for doing extensibility, and also provides them a single place where they can monitor all the extensibility requests and the responses sent by Microsoft. To access extensibility requests, you need to log into a Dynamics 365 Lifecycle Services project, which has been set up by your organization. Once you're in the project, you click on the Support tab. When you click on the Support tab, it will take you to the Support Lifecycle page. Here. In the Support Lifecycle page, you will see the different support options. The new one which you will see is extensibility requests. To create a new extensibility request, click on the icon here, which will open up the extensibility request form. And first thing what you need to do is provide your name and your contact email. Once you're done, then you have to define what extensibility request type you're looking for. There are different options. You can have extensibility options regarding constructions, extending enums, methods, metadata changes, method changes, platform requests. Select the one which is applicable to you. And once you select one, you have different options where we need a lot of details so we can process them. So given the element name, the priority which is important to you, the enum details as well as impacted X++ methods and other details which are dependent on this extensibility request. Once you are done and filled in the right details, click on submit, and then you can actually go back and monitor all the requests that you've generated and submitted to Microsoft. Seamless data integration. Our customers are looking for ways to adopt change in a pace which keeps us with the rapidly changing business requirements. They can onboard applications on demand and as and when their business requirements. And to enable this, we provide configurable tools which allows them to onboard Dynamics 365 for finance and operations and other services at their own pace, and still providing the framework which helps them integrate these applications by using configuration, thereby maximizing the value of their business processes and data. In this demo, I'll walk you through how Dynamics 365 for finance and operations works seamlessly with Dynamics 365 for field services. As mentioned earlier, we are focused on enabling our customers to complete the digital feedback loop. And what digital feedback loop basically means is, how do I get connected to my users who are using my products, as well as get their telemetry data and see how ways we can improve the product, as well as provide proactive service to end users. To enable digital feedback loop, we have integrated Dynamics 365 for field services as well as finance and operations with out-of-box templates so they can work and exchange data seamlessly. So product feedback from the field can come into Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, and backend transactional data can be sent to the front-end customer service applications so they are up to date as to what their customer services are doing. The first thing you would like to do is go to the data integration workspace in Power Apps Admin Center and create 4 different projects. Now in this release, we have enabled 4 different templates which specifically tie up with Dynamics 365 for finance and operations and Dynamics 365 for field services. The templates you would like to go and configure are accounts, invoice, products, and work orders. So accounts will flow from field services back into operations. Products will move from operations into field service and sales. Work orders will flow back from field services into operations, and the invoice will be generated in Dynamics 365 for finance and operations and updated onto the field services side of the application. So let's take each of these into account. So one of this application, I'm going to open it, and it says the customers are integrated and mapped with the customers in operations. Once these templates are set up, you can go ahead and schedule these templates, and they will run at regular intervals based on your schedule. Now what this does is, first the products are synchronized. So I go into Dynamics 365 for field services, I click on sales, and then once the synchronization of products have happened, I select on the products, I select the right filter, and here I can go ahead and see all the products that have moved from Dynamics 365 for finance and operations onto the field services side. Once the products have been synchronized, I click on field services, and once in the field services, I can go ahead and look at all the work orders that are created. Once the work orders are created in the field services, I have this Contoso ski shop, which I had created a little while ago. The Contoso ski shop order is for repairing the facilities at Contoso. Once the Contoso work order details are here and the synchronization runs, I will be able to see the same work order inside Dynamics 365 for finance and operations. Let me go back into the finance and operations environment where I have the sales order, and I can select on the same sales order, which gives me the same Contoso ski shop. So now we see, using the integrator and the data integration out-of-box templates, the sales orders have been synchronized between both these systems, as well as the invoice for the sales order. Once it's invoiced into Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, the same will be available into Dynamics 365 field services, enabling the closed data feedback loop. In a cloud world where Microsoft is responsible for maintaining our customers' environments, customers expect a very high level of reliability and transparency so they can literally focus on their business rather than on the infrastructure that's powering their businesses. And that is exactly the features we have enabled in this release, which let our customers do that. One of the key features we have enabled in this release is telemetry-based knowledge-based recommendation, which basically goes ahead and scans the customer's production environment and then warns the customer in case there are any critical alerts, hotfixes, or patches that need to be applied to ensure that the environment is up and running and is reliable. To access this feature, log into Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations project in Lifecycle Services. Select the production environment and click on Full Details. When you log into the Details page, you will see a new tile called Critical X++ Update. Now what this does is, this feature monitors your application production environment and warns you in case there are any critical patches, updates, or hotfixes that are available and need your immediate attention, and thereby enabling our customers to always ensure that they are on the latest and the greatest. Microsoft runs on trust, and our customers who do business with us expect the same, and they expect us to enable them to scale globally and remain compliant globally in today's rapidly changing business scenarios and requirements.
Thank you so much for taking the time to explore with us the great new features in the latest release of Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations. I'd encourage you to visit the Dynamics 365 website to learn more, maybe even sign up and take a trial and get a hands-on experience. There's a lot to explore.